Hello, everybody. This is Straight from the Heart.
Yes, the Germany's.
Randy and Pat.
And we have David Harden, a good friend from 50 years, has joined us.
All right, and we're excited to be here this evening. Rather, we had a little technical difficulty, but we are unstoppable, and so we are still here, and we are undefeated. We have a great segment that we want to share with you on today, and as we always stated, Straight from the Heart is simply that. We come on and we talk about relevant topics that are applicable to you today, wherever you are. There's something you can glean from Straight from the Heart. And so, what we would like to share with you today is a dynamic duo. That's what I call them, the dynamic duo. They're known as the OGs. You know, some would characterize them as the OGs. But I'm so excited tonight to have these two great men that are going to share with us on tonight their story. You know, oftentimes we hide behind the scenes, and there's a quote that I often use, and it is, "If these walls could talk." And so many times we, because of our past, we hide behind it and hope that it'll just go away. But I am under persuasion that the help that an individual really needs is often because of someone else's transparency. And so tonight we have two awesome men of God that we want to bring to the platform and to share with you. They're going to share their story in their way. I call them OGs because they OGs. No, but no, nevertheless, I tease with them. Of course, they're going to say I'm not far behind them, but nevertheless, these are none other than my husband, Randolph Germany, of 37 years, and his best friend, Dave Harden. And as we go, before we go move any forward, I thought it was so cute. I shared with my son about a month ago. We were preparing dinner, and Dave had stopped by to grab a plate, and he was on the phone with his son. And I heard him say, "I'm at my best friend's house." And I was like, wow. I said, you don't hear like a lot of men say, "My best friend." But you know what? I can attest to the fact that they have been best friends since the 37 years I've been in Randy's life. I've watched them never a fallout or anything, just gel, And so I want to bring them together tonight because I thought it would be great at the time that we're living in today. There's a lot, as you all know, violence and substance abuse and gun fire and things of that nature. And sometimes we hear the horror stories and we hear, how and why this situation transpired. But we have some real diehards here tonight that are going to share with you their story in their own way. And so I want to start it out by I have a question. I have many questions, but I have one in particular. And I want both of them, whoever likes to talk first, to share with us, how did you meet and how long have you been friends? So we call him Big Dave.
Because he was the tallest. When we was growing up, he was taller than everybody else.
How tall are you?
6'5".
6'5". All right, he's 6'5". He looks short sitting here, but when he stands up, he's a pretty tall guy. So Dave, how long have you known Randy, and how did you meet?
I remember in 1965, my mother had bought a house on 31st in New Jersey. And the school that we were going to was Short Ridge Junior High.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe Randy went there as well. Well, it was 260 at first.
260 at first, yeah.
And then we moved across the street to Short Ridge Junior High. And I was a classmate of his sister, Ronita, his older sister. And eventually we got to know each other, but passing through, they lived a couple of streets over from us. And we never played together when we was younger, but because he was kind of by himself
most of the time. Yeah, I was kind of a loner. I was kind of a loner growing up, and I even had funny nickname because I was like the unknown. Because they'd be asking my name and I wouldn't even tell my name. I'd be like, little cats in the neighborhood. But and I remember I used to play with the guy Naaman who lived across the street from me. That was probably about then. I was younger. We played together most of the time, but we just grew up in the same neighborhood. And then we gravitated toward one another a little bit later on because we started hanging out and doing some things. And it probably wasn't the most it wasn't the best thing, but as you growing up and living in the streets, I had good direction growing up, but I think I made a choice, a conscious choice. I think that's what life is about. We make choices, and good choices provide good outcomes. And bad choices, by the same token, they create bad outcomes. And everything that you do is your life is a product of your good and bad choices and the things you do that create opportunities for you or put you at a disadvantage.
So would you say that bad choices develop bad outcomes?
Yep, no doubt. Bad choices always develop bad outcomes. If you and it's everything, because even
Well, maybe I should paraphrase that. Bad choices produce bad outcomes, but they also can be something that catapults you to a positive outcome as well.
okay.
So you can take a negative and add it with a plus.
I think you learn from
Yes.
those things. You glean from that, and then that helps you to be challenged and make better choices. I think that's the problem with the youth and everyone because even when I was younger, you know, I lived in the apartments after we moved from on Central, and we lived in apartments, and the apartments we lived in, you used to see a lot of different people come through. You see, back then, pimping and doing and selling drugs and all that. That was just rampant. I seen them people growing up and out the pretty cars and the nice clothes and jewelry. The girls.
You weren't a pimp, were you?
No, okay. That's another story. I can tell a story. I won't tell you. I think in most words we'll call I was simping. I wasn't pimping.
You were simping and not pimping. Okay.
Yeah, so, yeah, but
If history reminds me, I recall a picture you with a big afro on and a leather coat and girls all around you. And leather boots up to his knees.
That was at the club. Yeah, at the club. At the club. That happens, So and that was the culture that kind of environment I grew up in, and so the mindset at that time was to just manifest that lifestyle and to do what and the accoutrements of that lifestyle, which brings you to some ultimately some bad decisions, some terrible outcomes. I did 3 stints in prison as a result of those activities. I said, but now looking back now, if you know me, and if I tell someone that, a lot of people are like, I don't believe you.
You said when you said you did
Three stints. I went to
three
prison.
stints, okay.
I did 3 bits. I went to prison on 3 different occasions growing up. Because of bad choices. And I think bad choices and it was just and the drug culture. I was criminal, and I thought at that time, uh, being a criminal is if this is what you do, then you actually most people you kind of study it. You learn what is the best route to take and what are the best uh, vehicles to get you to where you want to go. But
Project your voice.
yeah, but I let Big Dave speak on that because he knows.
I was a product of my environment as well. I had good parents. We stayed together the whole time we were kids.
Mm-hmm.
And I went wayward. I went to school. I think it was the only black school in Indianapolis. And that's Christmas Attucks. I wanted to go there because I heard a lot of good things about it. But once I got there, I had been exposed to the streets, the surrounding streets, where all the pimping and stuff, all that stuff was going on. And
Go to the avenue.
the avenue had a stronger pull than the school did. So I eventually dropped out of school in the 11th grade. And ever since then, my life has been turned upside down because I got arrested for no cause. Because I skipped school one day. Me and my girlfriend, we was going to skip school, and ended up I had I had to come across. We walked. Matter of fact, like a mile and a half to her mother's house. Her mother asked me to go to the store, and when that happened, I think I bought some donuts or something like that. So our plan was to hang out at her mother's house, but her mother spoiled that. So I said, I better go on home. And when I went home, I got a block away from where the store was, and I saw the police go around the block. And by the time he came back around, I had finished my donuts. I threw the bag on the ground. I thought he was pulling me over for littering the streets. And it turned out that they were looking for a robbery suspect. And they locked me up. A guy came by in the backseat of the cop car and pointed to me and said, yeah, that's him. And I know just because they had blue on. He said the guy had a blue on and he had a knife and a gun. And they didn't find none of this on me, no money, no nothing. They took me to jail. And eventually I went to trial and they sentenced me to a year on Indiana State Farm. My lawyer, he quit practicing Indiana law from that point on because he felt that they abused me.
Almost like they railroaded you.
Yeah, they
No,
did.
not almost. That was railroad, but that was common during that
Back
time.
then.
Yeah, that was common
Because
during
we
that
didn't know
period.
nothing about the court system.
No, you didn't know about court system, and then it was, you know, with the same thing that we see now. With
I was going to say
that
that's kind of retrospective what we're seeing now,
you see it now.
guilty by association or just
Guilty,
because you look
guilty
like
because
you
of
50
this.
because of this.
Yes,
Exactly.
it's just this.
Yes.
That's common.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and
So let me ask you this. When going back, and you went to prison and you did
three different bits.
three different bits.
Mm.
I'm learning a new word. Three different bits of being incarcerated. And so, Dave, how's your story fanned out up until this present point?
Well, same thing. My history is I went to prison a little more than Randy did, but they wasn't as long. This last one I did, the feds, the federal system, I was 50 years old. I waited all that time to catch a fed hit. And what happened was they locked me down for 17 years. And I got sentenced to 25, but thank God I won my appeal, got a new trial. And I went back to get resentenced. They gave me 17 years. And I ended up doing 15 of that.
So you just recently, within the last year or so,
2 years.
completed 2 years. You completed a 15-year sentence.
Yeah, I got out.
Wow, you don't look like what you've been through.
No.
You know, God is
It
good. He
can-
knows how to preserve us.
Yes.
I think I've heard you say that before.
Yes, sir.
Yes, that somehow we look at it as a negative when you're incarcerated, but it also preserves you. A lot of men that come out of prison, or even women, we had a discussion last night that they seem like when they come out, they've gained weight, they look healthier, and someone attributed to the slams, the ramen noodles.
I don't know. I wasn't slam king in prison. Had a different hookup. So
You had a different hookup.
Yes.
But we say that, so we know that prison and drugs and gun violence, all of those are married to one another in some retrospect. You almost like you can't have one without the other. And so in today's society, we hear of a lot of the gun violence, and we're still dealing with the drug, and we're still dealing with the epidemic of the color of our skin, and so on and so forth. What would you say to the young men today? What are some of the pitfalls that they could avoid that would prevent them from maybe having the outcome that either one of you experienced? Could you redirect them today?
Well, there's a lot of positive grants. Grant money has been contributed to different venues where they take in youth now and try to detour them from taking the wrong
Mm-hmm.
direction.
Yes.
Like before you fall, a friend of mine, matter of fact, he did 15 years, close to 15 years as well.
Mm-hmm.
And when he got out, he hit the ground running. And we started the Before You Fall program.
Mm-hmm.
And I see it on Facebook all the time. And it looks like he's growing, booming. He has employees up under him now.
Mm-hmm. So this program is entitled "Before You Fall."
Before You Fall.
And
It's a good time to catch them before they fall.
yes.
But I think now if it's a age of opportunity. The opportunities are available for you not to have to go to prison, not to have to succumb to selling drugs or committing crimes to
Mm-hmm.
try to gain an advantage or to have a nice life. And if I think that when you look at it, if you're criminally inclined, I think that you look at it, you have to decide that. That is probably not the best career choice that you could make. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
And because the 9 times out of 10, the majority of people, you just do a survey and see how many successful criminals you can see who are stick-up men, drug dealers, people who deal in the slave trade and prostitution, or those kind of things. How many of those are successful and retire from what they're doing?
Mm-hmm.
And live a decent life. I think that uh, young men, young women, I think that there are opportunities out there, and it's really knowledge and understanding and getting the right kind of direction growing up. Because I think when coming up for a long time, I didn't think that we could transcend and get to those places and do those things. But
Mm-hmm.
I've since learned that anything is possible. I think that you have to make up in your mind to make a choice, to make a stand, and do the right thing. And then I think the opportunities are there. You just have to stick to the course,
Mm-hmm.
and use your imagination. Imagine yourself being somewhere doing something great. Then, if you keep that focus and you put some work with that, I think that you can get where you're trying to go. There's a deeper something that we can do, but this isn't the format for that. But I think that those opportunities are there for anyone.
So let me say this. I hear you keep saying the word opportunity. Um, there was an opportunity that you encountered that redirected your life. Uh, we've been married 37 years now. And so you had an opportunity that shifted your life. And where would you say that that began to get you to where you're at now? And what are some of the things that has transpired in your life up to this present time? What do you do now?
I think I'm a nurse now, and
So,
by the
so
grace of
did it
God,
start with you? I heard you say, drugs and prison and all that. Um, was rehab an option, or how did you go about just?
no, it was I made a conscious decision. I made a conscious decision that I wanted to change and do something. The same decision I made when I said I want to be a criminal. I said I made a conscious decision I want to be a criminal, and then you want to try to do the best you can at what you do. Because that's just. I think that's what everybody. If that's your ambition and this is what you choose to do,
Mhm.
you play basketball, you want to practice playing basketball and doing what you do and get better at it.
Exactly.
And so even with that, if you commit crimes, you want to try to figure out how to way to get good at it. Then but after 3 bits, you got to figure that maybe this ain't for me. You know what I mean? So I think that's when I came to the conclusion I wanted to make a career change. But growing up, too, the other cats that you hung around with, like, every time I would get arrested and I'd be incarcerated, somebody I was close to would get killed. You know what I mean? So growing up, it said Doug got killed,
Yeah.
Craig got killed, Junebug got killed, Terry disappeared. It was just like, and each time that something like that happened, and I was still able to be here, shoot, and that we was both in and out, and I missed Big Day for a while, and then he get out and I see him, then we be hooked up, then I disappear, and then it was
I
like
remember
back
you
and forth.
disappeared on me.
Yeah, I did. But then at the time when we grew up and I was single, I said,
I was like,
I
where did
don't,
he go?
I don't want to mess up your life. I said,
I
because
appreciate
I
that.
said, you don't want to be with me because I am not that kind of guy. But I do. Yeah, I said you would have to be a whole nother person.
And thank God. Woo, thank you, Jesus.
But when I seen you after I came home, I said, oh, you might be ready now.
I might be ready
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
But I was
She
only
might be
ready
ready. It was
because
really,
God made me ready.
I was ready. I
God,
was
yeah,
ready.
and he had to get get you ready.
You get me ready.
Yes, and so remember Dave reiterating once. He said that I was your angel,
Yeah.
and so he said he needed an angel. He said he still need an angel. I don't know, Dave. There may be an angel out there watching,
Yeah.
but so now that okay, we went through the prison and we've done the stints and all of that, and so now we're here. Um, One of the things that stands out in my mind, um, that is very dear to me, is a lot of times when our loved ones go to prison, we go along with them, and so it's
Yes.
not. And then I hear you say that you had some losses along the way. You lost friends, and Dave, I'm sure there were individuals in your life that were
I'm not
tremendous
here
losses.
anymore. My children is, they basically hurt the most once, when you leave them,
Hmm.
they don't have no directions. Like my daughter,
Hmm.
Diana, she still hasn't got it together,
Hmm.
but she's working now and has a little child,
Hmm.
and and she seems to like the job. She was every time she get settled in the job, she quit. And
Okay.
now look like she's sticking with this.
And could that be attributed to because her dad is here to
Yeah, it
kind
could
of
be.
help redirect her?
It could be because she didn't have a father figure while I was gone.
Yes.
And as far as my immediate family, my sisters and brothers, they don't know how to take me because I've been out of their lives so long.
Okay.
And they had their own lives to deal with.
Hmm.
So we kind of far in between on relationships.
And so along that path, there are some losses and there are some wins. I would say, because you lose that family connection, you lose loved ones. Some you go in, you come out, they're gone. And so you have to kind of regroup because of the losses. But then the families, they take some losses as well because they're financially stricken. They're dealing with the void of you being gone, things of that nature
and you
as
can't
well.
give good direction. But then when you, I think, when your life is open book and people can see your
Mhm.
life, then sometimes I think that hurts your family because I think that sometimes some of my kids they probably kind of emulated me in some respects, and I remember a conversation you was
You
sharing
have
with me.
how many
Yeah,
sons? You
I
have
got
four,
four. I
four
got four
sons.
boys. Yeah,
Four sons.
four sons.
Like I should know that, shouldn't
Yeah.
I? But I wanted you to share with them that you have four sons. Would you say that your life has impacted your sons?
I think it has. I think that the change has helped them a lot because knowing me, knowing the kind of person I was growing up when they were very young,
Mm-hmm.
and they seeing me in their life, in and out of their life. I remember having to go to tell them. I said, I'm getting ready to go away for a while, but I'll be in touch and and do I can. You hustle even in prison. You send a few dollars home and do some things, But I always try to be impactful and reach out to them and stay in contact. My family, my mother, God rest her soul, she always was helping. She would bring my kids and she would come, and then I get to the point where if you get to a certain age, you don't even want your people to come
No.
like that.
Mm-hmm.
You don't even want them. Because I think on my last bit, I got to some problems like then when I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna get out and then I'm gonna just pick up where I left off and try to come together with them and make something happen. But you don't want your kids to keep coming up there to see you
No.
like that. I think initially you miss them, but then in your heart of hearts when you realize that that isn't a good scene. Yeah, it's not conducive to helping them. And then sometimes I think that if they see you in that respect and then what they seeing outside in the streets, I think that impacts them and makes them feel like maybe this is the venue I want to follow, but
Mm-hmm.
it's not because who wants to go to prison? It ain't no fun. You know
Right.
what I mean? So I remember being in prison and they took all the windows out and it was cold in there
Oh yeah.
and it was snowing inside
And the water was cold.
and the water was cold.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, we was putting blankets up
That
to
sounds like a breakout moment.
put blankets to the bars, burning toilet paper if you could afford to buy some to heat the cell up. Man, so it's some great. That's a life changing moment. That's an impact you make you
No
feel like
doubt.
this is somewhere you don't want to be.
Yes.
And
So
if the youngsters today could, well,
Maybe if they could do
I
they
don't
used to
want
have a segment where you could
Scared
walk
straight.
through,
Scared
scared
straight.
straight.
Yeah,
Yes.
they need stairs straight.
Hmm.
They need that program back.
I think some, may, as you stated, they don't take it serious, baby, because they are surrounded by conversation. Some create, even going to prison. I've heard it's like it's not a big deal to some,
until they get there.
Until you
until they get there.
Yeah.
And then they experience what's going on in there. That would change their mind.
Hmm.
I mean, just like this 50 years. I mean, when I got locked up when I was 50 years old, the federal system is not playing with the black youth. They
Hmm.
trying to get rid of most of them. I mean, as much of them as they can.
Hmm.
And it seems like that's the system they're going by. And the gangs, if you're involved in a gang nowadays,
Hmm.
that adds extra time to your sentence.
Wow.
It's automatic that
Yeah,
you get
you
that.
got them tats and them colors.
If they see you congregating on the corner anywhere, that is a sentence by itself.
Mm. So I know families, and we wanted to come on tonight because um, prison is real. I have loved ones that I've been to, from Wabash Valley to Lewisburg, Pennsylvania, to Leavenworth, Kansas City. That was my vacation many times.
Yeah.
My husband, thank God for him and the transition that occurred in his life. And he would drive me to go and visit my loved ones, to take 2 or 3 days, or 2 days. We would sometimes spend 2 days, go see them, and then get up the next morning and go visit them again. And so I say that to say, a lot of times when our loved ones go to prison, we go with them because we carry that burden, that loss, the financial stress that goes on with it, worrying about them at night. Some say, oh, well, they're locked up, at least we know where they're at. But there's a lot that goes on behind prison walls as well. And so, yes, maybe we do know where they're at, but sometimes there are individuals that don't come home. They don't make it home,
Right.
And so we're sitting here today. I'm so honored to be able to sit here and to look in living color at one, my husband, and then my best friend's friend, Dave, that has survived the prison system. Everybody doesn't survive it. Everybody doesn't go in and come out. And I would say, with you coming together, and God being a intricate part of the
Yes.
change that transpired in
Yes.
your life.
Yes, I think that really helped me to realize, because I think I really didn't know God then. I think that sometimes I'd be in trouble. I can remember that being in a situation and it was touch and go, and it was I might live, I might die, and then and if I might get away, and I was running down the railroad tracks from another city, and I was asking God to save me, and if He got me out of this, then I would never do it again. And I turned around, did it again, and then went to prison. But after that, and I think the last bit, I think that was when I think Doug got killed, and I said, man, I was going to get out. I was reading something in Time magazine, and it said that if you haven't stopped committing crimes by the age of 30, yeah, by the age of 30,
You never get out.
you'll never get out of that situation. So
Yes.
you'll be doing that for the rest of your life, and that in itself, I kept it in my mind, and that helped me to change my mind about what I was going to do when I leave. But
And so with God and God sending you an angel and all of that good stuff, you are here today. You're here today. And so through your transition, and now you are a registered.
licensed practical nurse.
All right.
Yeah. So,
And Dave is, we sit here and I'm looking at Dave. I know he is occupied now. He just went through a surgical procedure, correct? And so as his healing is taking place, then there's some different things that Dave aspires to do. And I'm listening to him when he said that there is a program that is out, and that's what was that? It was called
Helping you before you fall.
Before You Fall. What happens a lot of times when men are released from prison, and I guess that's one of my concerns, is the opportunities are not provided so that they can get back on track. And so what happens a lot of times, it opens up that door to get back caught up in the system, and some go back to prison. But if you're out there and you know of any programs or how you can assist one to get back on track and to somehow be able to we'll never, only God can catch us up where we need to be. But I do believe that God will give favor and allow individuals that you're connected to help you get to the next place,
Yeah.
the next level in your life. And so um, I'm just believing God that today I have a son. I have four sons. We have four sons, and they're home and free and doing, and working. But you know what? They've had their tests and trials as well. But God has covered them. And so sometimes as we're talking to you, you have sons, you have nephews, you have grandchildren that have encountered daughters
Yes.
that have gotten caught up in the system, and it seems like there's no way out. Well, tonight we're here to share with you that there is a way out. With God, all things are possible. And God has allowed these two OGs right here to survive against all odds,
Yeah.
and has brought them together. And so now, from the 60s, they're sitting here still best friends and alive, and they look pretty good to me. I don't know about you, but God is blessing them. And so we want to encourage you that if you have a son, you have a daughter that is dealing with the legal system and they have gotten caught up in the system, first things first, God is first. God is key in all things. But redirect. I believe that love can cover a multitude of sins. And so what we want to do is we want you, I believe that patience is the key a lot of times. And we're so easy to give up because all we look at is the negative of an individual's life. But tonight, you're here to see that there are positive outcomes from bad decisions.
Yes.
But there are positive outcomes, and you can be more than a conqueror. And so tonight, I want to have them just have any closing thoughts, and then we're going to close this segment.
To the youth is, feel that the guns is an answer. When we came up, they had guns, but we only used them when it was absolutely necessary.
Mm-hmm.
We used these fists. That's how we settled differences back in the day. And I won't say that you're cowards, but you need to go to the gym and try to learn how to box instead of trying to pull a trigger and take somebody's life.
Yes.
It's good talk. Good talk.
Yeah. I just think that you want to think that you need to reevaluate and just look at where you want to go and decide if you want to have a good life and you want to stay free and enjoy life and be able to travel and just to have a relationship and with loved ones and and see your mother and father and kids, see them grow up and see them enjoy them as they age. I said the only way to do it is if you stay free, and to stay
Yes.
free, you got to stay crime free and make some better decisions, because and opportunities are available for you to overcome and to do great things. But you have to make a conscious decision that this is what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
This is the life you want to have. And I think that when you do that and you use your imagination and create the environment you want, I think that you can create the opportunities that you need to overcome and to succeed. I think that is there and it's up to you.
So the opportunities are there. I'm sure that Randy and Dave, if you ever need someone just to talk to or to share with, put your name in the chat inbox. You can inbox straight from the heart, and we'll get the message to them. But I believe that this is a platform that needs to be shared more often. And I like what you said, Dave, that we fought with these back then.
Yeah.
Now, gun violence is not the key. It's not the key. It's not the answer. And so we want to encourage you, if you're carrying a gun, put your gun down and learn how to fight. But most of all, let God fight for you.
Yes.
Let God
That's it.
fight. He is the center that holds it all together. And so if you want to get your life back on track, first seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, and all these things shall be added unto you. Whatever you lost, God will make it up for you. And he'll do it quick, wouldn't you say? He'll do a quick work in your life. And so we love you. This is straight from the heart. I see we have my son on here, 7 Germany. He said, I learned to stay free from a real OG. That happens to be my son, 7 Germany. That's right. Seven Germany is going to be with us. Some awesome things are transpiring in his life, and so we're excited that he's here. I had to get down and look. We have Michelle Roby. She says, Sister Jeremy, thank you for being who you are and allowing healing and restoration to happen through testimony. And so this testimony that we've heard tonight, I may not have been to prison, but as I stated, when you're connected to those that have had encounters such as, we go along with them many times.
Yeah, you've been to a lot of prisons.
I've been to a lot of prisons, but I haven't been in prison.
No.
I've been at the gate. I've ministered in prisons, and you know what? It happens to be a passion of mine. You know, just to be able to go in and to minister to men and women and let them know that there is a God and there is hope beyond the gate. That'll preach right there. Hope beyond the gate.
Yeah.
Because you know, when you go in, you got to go through all these different gates.
Mhm.
And so there is hope wherever you are. Be encouraged and know that God knows and He sees you and that He is a very present help in the time of trouble. Until next week, we love you straight from the heart, from the Germanys. Thank you again, Dave, for being with us. Again, anyone have any opportunities? Dave is really willing and ready. These be some great men to bring in and talk to your young people and to share with them their story. And again, straight from the heart, we love you. And until next week, God bless you.
Thank you.
I want your heart. Gotta want your heart.